Well, hello again. Today's goal is to try to get the cancel relay. Where is it? It's on this end here. Yeah, and we need to get this cancel relay to work. And we also need to get the push buttons to work on the Tormat electrical selector, or the keyboard, okay? Those are the two main things. And these other relays that give us credit for when we put in the coins and everything, we don't have to worry about that because it's being controlled by this button here that we installed. I'll show you how that was all done later. Right now I've got to get this thing functional, and also the keyboard. However, there is something we have to do first. And it was pointed out to me by, again, our good buddy Harry Hall, who popped in out of, I don't know, he came in out of the universe somewhere, started giving us some good poop that I didn't know about. You know, he's an old Seeburg repairman. His dad did the same thing, so he's a man who knows what he's talking about. And he said, John, let me tell you, you got another problem here, son. He said, you got these bolts tightened down all the way. Well, that's true, I do. He said, you need to get them all the way up so the bolts are at the top. He said, what's happening is the motor is going to hit on this one here. Probably already is. And you know, when I read that last night, I didn't really know what he was talking about. So I came out here this morning and I checked it out. Sure enough, look at here. This thing comes all the way over, and this part right here is going to hit that bolt. He said, what this is supposed to do is supposed to be a floating platform, a floating rack that everything sits on. And if you need to ever ship this thing or move it in a truck or whatever, anything that's going to jostle it around, bump it around, then you tighten these bolts down. These bolts are, you know, clamp it real tight to keep everything from moving, okay, like it is right now. He said, you get them up now where they belong, and then it'll all float on these corner springs that you installed. Well, once again, that makes perfect sense to me. I don't know why I didn't do it. I didn't know it and do it. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew all four of the bolts that go down into these metal slides. Let's get them all up, and hopefully when we're done, this thing will kind of like jiggle around a little bit like it's supposed to. Alright, so much for that. All four of these have been raised all the way to the top per Harry Hall's instructions. And this thing here is high enough to where it'll clear the bolt when it comes down. Okay, we don't want it hitting against the bolt. Not a whole lot of clearance there, but there'll be just enough, I think, to clear it. Anyway, I may have to go up even further, just maybe all the way to the top like that. Anyway, now I tightened up all the screws, by the way, to go up through the center of these rubber things. This part right here, I tightened them all up too. So now our you can see right here, I don't know if you can see with me wiggling, but it's all floating, okay? That's what we're supposed to have, and that's what we got. Alright, that's done, at least for now. Let's get back to our single pricing unit. This single pricing unit, I spent some time last night going over the schematic and reading the technical data that Brendan had sent me. And I also have a CD of the manual of this unit that Brendan also sent me. You see, well, I've been doing all the mechanical crap and all the cabinet work and everything I told you once before. In between bonbons, he would be sitting there reading all this stuff and sending it to me. Boom, 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 boom. And I'd make copies and all that. And then he sent me the CD of the manual, which all this stuff is like very helpful. I couldn't have done a lot of this without his help, I'm telling you. Anyway, I've come to the conclusion that the 25 volts that operates this cancel solenoid here, and the 25 volts that operates this latch bar solenoid right here. There's your latch bar. This is the solenoid. You've got a second latch bar over here. I can't see it hardly, but it's down in there. Anyway, the two latch bars is operated by that solenoid. Those two solenoids have 25 volts going to them, and they go through. I said there has to be something common to both of these items because neither one is working. The cancel solenoid and the latch bar solenoid are not working. They all go back via this cable. So what in here is common to those two things? Well, after looking at the schematic, I was able to figure out by reading and looking at this thing right here. I was able to figure out that it's this set of contacts right here. Alright, that set of contacts right there, they're normally closed. Keep in mind when you look at a schematic, any schematic, unless it stipulates otherwise, you always look at a schematic, it's shown to you with power off, no power applied. Okay, no power applied. So this would be a normally set of closed contacts with no power applied. And this set right here would be normally open. All right, you can see it right there. It's open, and these are connected. These are closed. The 25 volts required for those two, the cancel solenoid and the latch bar solenoid, go through that set of contacts. So I needed to check that set of contacts to see if they're actually making contact, because they're all the time closed. Let's take a look at it. Now those contacts are attached to what's called the timing relay. This is the coil. This is the coil for the relay right here. And then there's this copper stuff that slows down the operation of the coil. There's a magnetic core in there, or a plunger of some kind that's attached to this thing right here. This thing here moves in and out. See it moving in and out. I guess I don't need to do it that way. I can just do it this way with my thumb. See it moving in and out. And they put this copper stuff around there to slow it down, to delay it. That's why it's called a timing delay relay. This is a relay, not a solenoid. And this set of contacts right here at the top, let me zoom in here. This is important stuff now in case you ever have a problem. That set of contacts right there is that normally closed set of contacts I just showed you on the schematic. Okay, right there, you can't miss them. And they are in fact closed. Get back up here, it might be a little bit too close. There we go. Alright, now in addition to figuring that out, I decided, you know, I really should go ahead and check every single wire from connector to connector to contacts, ohm everything out, every single thing. And I did. Down here's the results of all my wires and pins on these things right here. Not all pins are used, but the ones that were have all connected and are all ohmed out perfect. So, guess what? I stuck my multimeter, let me see, I stuck my multimeter, one on one side and one on the other side. Guess what? No continuity. No continuity. So I slid the multimeter leads back a little ways. I checked here and here. Again, no continuity. So I came up here, and this time I squeezed it together using the leads. You know, I squeezed the two together. Sure enough, then I got continuity. Now this set of contacts, I remember, they were black. They were really burned pretty bad. I don't know why I'm having trouble here getting it focused. This is horrible. I don't know. Anyway, that set of contacts were really burned when I first got this thing out and went to work on it. So I cleaned it and cleaned it and cleaned it with alcohol and different things like that. Yeah, we got most of the black off. You can still see there's quite a bit there. And the current from both of those solenoids goes through there, and it's open and closing all the time. So it's been sparked up. So I separated the two, and sure enough, this side is pitted. We do not have a good contact between there. So I'm at the point where I have no choice. I'm going to have to take some sandpaper, fine sandpaper, put it between there, and sand it down. I've got to make some contact between these points, or we're dead in the water. We have nothing to lose at this point. And there's another set of points all the way down at the bottom. I don't know if you can see those or not. Let me see here. Can you see it set down there at the bottom? Yeah, there it is right there, directly below the first set. Right there. Right there, you see the two downward fingers. I'm going to go ahead and clean those up also. And then we'll check continuity and see how it looks. Alright, I've got a strip of 800 grit paper between those things. I'm just going to go up and down with them, up and down. I'm going to spend some time doing it. It'll pop out a couple of times, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go up and down until I get good continuity with the multimeter. That's done. I now have continuity between these two. Now, I don't know if this is going to solve the problem. If it doesn't, well, you know, what I just did can't hurt. We'll just have to keep digging. And if knowing that everything in here is good, everything is good. I may have to go through and check adjustments of the different contacts, but right now it all looks pretty good. I know the wiring is good, and this timing relay setup is good. If need be, our next step will be to take this plug right here that plugs into the top of here and trace that back all the way to the latch bar solenoid. See what happens. Let's go ahead and hook it all up. Give it a test run. Alright, we are getting power to our cancel solenoid. Watch this. I'm going to take this pencil and push on that long rod there. And watch the sparks up here now. I don't know if you can see them or not. See them? Alright. That means we're getting 25 volts to that. Now I need to find out why this thing is not tripping like that. It's supposed to. When I do this here, it's supposed to trip. And then we're supposed to be able to push this button in because that's just the latch mechanism just isn't doing it. Well, we may not be having any luck, but let's see what I could do. You know, I wonder if I could put a record in here with the turntable going. This thing is, you know, is leaning over to one side. Just kind of let it rest against there and see if I get any sound out of it. That'd be kind of neat, kind of bypass, you know, get over on the system here. Alright, I got the record in. I'd hate to have to play this thing manually like this. Let's see if it's going to work. Alright. Are they both working? No, this one's not working. That's always something. Shirley Bassey, Diamonds Are Forever, James Bond movie. Let's see if I can crank the volume up a little. Alright, I cranked it up as high as it would go, and I also adjusted the bass and the treble range, those two black knobs there. I put them up a couple of notches higher. Let's see what happens. Here we go. That's a little better, huh? We're not getting any noise out of this speaker. Nope, nothing out of there. Alright, there you go guys, my operational jukebox. Well, she keeps skipping, she doesn't want to stop, but if I do this, I lift this trip lever, watch what happens. Look at there, it rejects it. Then the record went back in the slot, comes back out. Let's see what happens when I trip it again. How about them apples, huh? How about them apples? Alright, that speaker's not working. This one is. Later on, I'll switch them around and see if the thing will actually work. If not, you know, then we got a speaker problem. But anyway, that's enough of the fun and games, guys. At least you got to hear some noise out of this sucker. Anytime I fix a radio, I say, if we can get noise, we're home free. I'm not so sure that applies here. But anyway, I've got the pricing unit back out, and I tested the voltage, by the way, at our latch bar solenoid. I tested the voltage on these 2 points right here, 0 volts. And I did it while I was pressing the button, this thing right here for selection and all that. 0 volts. So I think the problem might be in this set of contacts. Right cheer, as we say down here in Arkansas. Right cheer. I'm going to take a look at the book to see what I can do. Alright, I've made a determination that our latch solenoid up there in the TES, or the Tormat electrical selector, the keyboard, okay, this mess is okay. And I'll tell you why. Because from first of all, pin 1 is grounded like it's supposed to be on this one right here. And pins 2 to 12, which take us all the way through and back, are all the continuity's there. The readings are good. I'm supposed to have about 75 ohms. We have a 65 ohm and a 10 ohm resistor here. I wound up getting, I think, 75.6 ohms. Okay. And the light lit right here. That's that light that's always lit down there by the service switch. So, you know, if there was a break in the line or anything like here, right here, the light would not light, but I wanted to check these resistors. Get this mess out of here so I can see it. I wanted to check the resistor values, and our coil is good. I checked it, 4.5 ohms. So the problem is here. I completely went through this thing again and cleaned every contact I could find, to include those snap switches, you know, that the relay comes out and snaps over. Everything is as spotless as I can get it. It's time for a break. I need something to eat, and then I'll come back later on and we'll look at it some more. Well, that's about it for one day. I am totally baffled. You know, we were able to get this cancel relay to operate, and by taking my pencil and pushing on this thing right here. Okay, this is your cancel relay, cancel solenoid, and I was just doing that, and every time I did that, this thing would, you know, close, and then you saw the sparks. This would close, this would close. A signal would come up here to the timing relay, and you saw the sparks. From the sparks you were seeing were from that set of contacts right there. They were opening, and these are normally closed, you'll recall. These were, they were opening and closing is what was happening, and as they opened and closed like that, they were sparking, which is the way it's supposed to work. Because if you look at the way these things are set up, you've got 3 sets of contacts being operated by this cancel solenoid, and that's open, normally open, and it is, normally open, and it is, and of course normally open, which it is. You know, I was closing it. Let's look at our schematic, and you'll see the same thing. You've got your cancel solenoid. This relay, this coil operates this cam. That cam being this thing right here. And you have 3 sets of open contacts. You got open contact here, open contact here, and a set of open contacts here. I think, I just don't know. I don't know. What I've done this time, and this will save this for the next video, because this was going to end. I'm just completely, what they call discombobulated. Anyway, these are the cables coming out of the Tormat electrical selector, the keyboard. Okay, I'm going to spend some time checking out these cables to make sure these wires, nothing's broken, because that one wire that was broken, that I found broken, was on, if I can get a focus here, the stupid camera. Anyway, one wire I found that was broken and I had to repair was on this one right here. It was that orange wire, that second wire right there. And there may be others here, I don't know. Maybe that's why the signal is not getting over to our latch bar solenoid. We shall see. Anyway, that's it for now. Until next time, this is John.